It's the substitute, Yarmolenko!
Got it out here to Fornals. Let's go with the shot!
It was so emotional for me because, situation in my country, and it's so difficult for me right now.
Yarmolenko had a poor stint at Dortmund, and he was not really rated at his club. So there was clearly time for a change, because in his last season that he played for them, which was also his first season, he accumulated 6 goals and 6 assists, including 3 goals in Champions League, 3 assists in Champions League, and the rest were domestic. So it was time for a fresh start. This meant that he had to join a new club which had a lot of interest in him, that being a club in the East End, a club in London, and that club was none other than West Ham United. On the 11th of July 2018, Yarmolenko joined West Ham United on a permanent transfer. Brought in by manager Manuel Pellegrini, he was a signing who was deemed as promising for West Ham to push up from a bottom half table side to a side competing in the top half of the table. He made his debut on the 12th of August at Anfield against Liverpool. His start to the season was slow, and his misery was further added when he played against Tottenham Hotspur at the West Ham Stadium, and he accumulated an Achilles injury on the 20th of October 2018. This saw him missing out the rest of the season, and he only amassed a grand total of 2 goals and an assist. On the 24th of August 2019, Yarmolenko finally made his return in the competitive stage against Watford in a 3-1 victory. In the next fixture following the game against Watford, Yarmolenko smashed in a beautiful volley past the goalkeeper in an emphatic 2-0 victory against Norwich. This wasn't just a goal, this was a statement that he is back, and it should have been a confidence booster, especially due to how long he was out for. Furthermore, his performances were brilliant during that phase. He was repaying the trust that Pellegrini had in him. Finally, this was something to silence the haters, as he dunked on Man United with a half volley struck past David De Gea in an emphatic 2-0 win. Yarmolenko doubled down on his performance for Man United by scoring again against Bournemouth in a scruffy 2-2 draw. After that, it wasn't looking good for Yarmolenko, as he suffered a significant goal drought and a drought in performance, as he didn't register a goal nor an assist, albeit it was not only on him that was suffering from poor performances, but the whole team as a collective as well. Yarmolenko suffered another major injury in the 2019-20 season. It was an injury against Southampton on the 14th of December 2019. He sustained a severe tear to his adductor muscle during the match at St Mary's Stadium. On the 28th of December, after yet another defeat for Manuel Pellegrini was sacked with immediate effect after a poor run of form when the Hammers lost 9 out of their last 12. This was a major issue mainly for Yarmolenko, because this was the manager that trusted him and signed him based on his playstyle, and now he would have to adapt to a new manager. On the 29th of December, West Ham signed David Moyes on a second stint. Moyes wanted to restructure the squad in many areas, one area being the right wing position. On the 31st of January 2020, West Ham made the signing of Jarrod Bowen to take over the place of Yarmolenko, as he was seen as too injury prone and no longer a good fit. And then another obstacle went in the way of Yarmolenko.
You must stay at home.
His sidelining was further extended because of a new disease spreading called COVID-19, which heavily affected football in England, and the protocol meant that every elite sport must be stopped until further notice. On the 20th of June, West Ham returned to playing football, unfortunately losing 2-0, which added fire to the fuel for West Ham's battle against relegation. Because of his bad performances, he was sidelined for an away game against Tottenham Hotspur, as he wasn't favoured over other attacking options such as Haller, Snodgrass, Felipe Anderson and 4 nils. And to add salt to the wounds, now Bowen. On the 1st of July, Yarmolenko was trusted to come off the bench against Chelsea for Jarrod Bowen. That trust was later repaid as he scored a finesse shot past Kepa to make the score 3-2 and to propel them away from the relegation battle. This was the goal that showed why he was brought to the club in the first place. He was clutch and would score decisive goals against teams to pull West Ham away from devastating or embarrassing defeats. On the 26th of July 2020, Yarmolenko signed off the 2019-20 campaign with a goal in a draw that finished 1-1. In the 2020-21 season, Yarmolenko proved to be very underwhelming through his performances, where he amassed a total of 0 league goals. The manager did not have any faith in him, as he only started 1 league game that entire campaign out of 14 appearances. This was unfortunate because he proved to be good at the international stage that season, where he racked up a respectable 2 goals and 2 assists in 5 games, leading Ukraine to their first quarterfinals in the tournament. In one of those games, he scored a spectacular 25-yard curling strike into the top corner in a 3-2 defeat to Netherlands, but in hindsight it proved that Yarmolenko can be a vital asset if profiled correctly. He carried on this magnificent form when he delivered an assist and a goal against an underrated North Macedonia side. His final contribution was when he assisted a decisive goal versus Sweden to knock them out at the round of 16 at extra time. Unfortunately, Ukraine's luck finally ran out when they played England and suffered a humiliating 4-0 defeat. Nevertheless, Yarmolenko proved in the tournament if used correctly he can thrive around the right system and the right manager. Coming back from the European Championships and onto the new season, Yarmolenko had something to prove. He was given a chance as West Ham qualified for the Europa League, which would give him the ability to showcase his abilities. Unfortunately, it was the same old story. The manager didn't have faith in him, and he amassed an underwhelming amount of end product, where he featured in 19 league games and finished with 1 league goal. It started to look like the beginning of the end for Yarmolenko, as his output was not good enough, as well as the fact that he was barely playing. The story was quite similar in the Europa League, where he scored against below average teams such as Rapid Vienna in games where he featured more. On the 24th of February 2022, Ukraine was invaded by Russia. This war took a toll on Yarmolenko, which ultimately led him to missing out on the game against Sevilla, in which West Ham lost 1-0 in. In the return leg, featured as a starter, he scored to tie the game equal on aggregate. This was a gift for him, as he experienced so much suffering on and off the pitch. Unfortunately, this was the last contribution he would have for West Ham, and it was looking that it was set for him to leave at the end of the season. In May 2022, Yarmolenko announced his departure from West Ham. In conclusion, Yarmolenko's time at West Ham was run ragged due to injury, managers not believing in him, and the system ultimately didn't fit the style and quality to be a West Ham player.